101 review. Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. Coaching is based on a framework of bringing clarity and results for his clients. One of his advocacy, no other than Mr. Glenn Beechy. Welcome to Book 101, Mr. Glenn. And can you please introduce more about yourself?
Hi, good. Great to be on the show. Great to be here, Daniel. We Tonight is the first time we've met, and it's great to be on your show. I live here in Central Illinois, close to Chicago, Illinois, actually, here in the U.S. And we are here tonight to talk about several different topics about sex, money, and power, and warrior mindset. If we get, yeah, I don't know if we have time to get into all those topics, but we'll definitely cover some of them.
Let's summarize it, Mr. Glenn, and thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. How do sex, power, and money influence intersect in modern society?
How do they influence in modern society? Um,
Yes.
I can share some of my personal experiences over the years. I mean, I've been married for 25 years now. Just got done celebrating 25 years, and the thing that I've seen so much of in my years of being married, and I'm 44 years old now, and it's those are things that are not really talked about here in like how would I say, in church, in the churches. Like, I grew up a very religious, very how would you say, very strict church, and those are three things that weren't really taught, and those are three things that I have struggled with: how to be influential in a positive way, and sex and money are two things that are obviously driving forces in the human society a lot. I mean, those two things are extremely important to understand if you want to be successful in all areas of life, and especially if you want to be married and be successful in the financial realm. Like, I grew up extremely poor, and my dad never taught me anything about money, about investing, nothing. He didn't teach me anything about money, and I left home at 17 years old, not knowing anything. I had $10 in my pocket. I had $10 in my pocket when I left home, when I ran off from home at 17 years old. And fast forwarding, this was in see 1997 when I left home. And fast forwarding to 2011, I found myself $1 million in debt. It was business debt and personal debt, uh, just bad debt. It was a lot of bad financial decisions that I had made over the years, and I had no idea how to manage money, let alone invest money in anything. I would buy things that I didn't need, things that didn't make me money, things that were a liability, and I was married, and it nearly cost me my marriage because I couldn't support my family, and it was just an absolute disaster in my life until I figured out that in order to be successful in life, you have to use money as a tool and not as a to buy stuff that you thought were going to make you happy, but at the end of the day, you had to. It did not fill the void. The materialistic things that I was buying didn't make me happy. And later in the years, I got introduced to a mentor, Hans Johnson, and he wrote the book called True Wealth Formula, where he lays out a formula in this book, step by step, how to take the money that you earn, every dollar that you earn, and put it in percentages. Uh, Invest a certain percent, save a certain percent, and then use a certain percent to live on. And then also a certain percentage goes to charity to help the widow and the poor and the needy. And it changed my life forever. And it, there's still days that I have a hard time following that system in that book. I mean, it it's a constant strain. I mean, it's obviously constant. As human beings, we constantly have to remind ourselves where the money needs to go that you make your income. You have to, because money is always, like Hans says, money is always looking for a place to go. We have to tell the money where to go.
Definitely. We need to control ourselves about money. And what are the most common misconceptions about relationship between these three forces? Power, sex, money, influence.
Well, if we look at if we look at past history, all the way back thousands of years ago, if we look into the history books, into the Bible, or whatever history book you want to look into, oftentimes when politicians or anybody that comes into power gains a lot of power, they come into a powerful position, they you've seen where they gain more power and more power, and then they get money, they get access to a lot of money. Now I've seen where men you see where men get involved in relationships with multiple women because it's the power and the money attracts attracts women from, it's like a magnet, when you have power, when you're in power and you are a powerful person and you have a lot of money, usually sex just shows up. It just shows up. It's something that I've seen, that those three those three things, the sex, power, and money, has been the fall of a lot of men's empires when they don't keep those three things in balance.
True. Like David.
Yeah, yeah, like King David. I mean, he was a powerful person, and he got caught up in adultery, and it screwed up his life.
That's true. And how do cultural or societal norms shape the way we perceive and navigate these dynamics?
How do social norms navigate?
Yes.
It's in the people that I associate with. It seems to be a normal thing now for men and women to just think that marriage is disposable. Like it's such a disposable thing. And what you see these days is, it's like people are married for a few years, and as soon as marriage gets hard, they just give up. They just throw the towel in and give up. They just they just move on. and get a divorce, and it tears families apart. And it's hard. It's really really hard on if if they have children, if they have two or three or four or five children, and they're small children, and the man and wife separate, they get a divorce, it tears apart families. And I believe that's why we see so many children that have identity crisis, because their dad, their father, didn't they didn't grow up with a stable father figure in their life. And now it makes them feel rejected and dejected, and now they look at life and they don't know how a stable family life looks, and it affects them. It affects them in a big way, because I believe that in the beginning of creation, marriage was one of the most sacred things that our Creator put into place, was marriage, and we've made a real mess out of it. And we don't really, the normal society doesn't really think it's a big deal, and it's really sad to me. I mean, it's it's you see where what I've seen is what we see now is families are not stable anymore, and it's starting to make society decay from the inside out, because this, families aren't strong anymore, marriages aren't strong, and it's really sad to see that. And it's like men are a bunch of weak sucks now. They don't men don't go the extra mile to keep to salvage their marriage, thinking that thinking that getting a divorce is the right thing to do, and they just move on. And it's just sad. It's just been a sad thing to see that in society.
Truly sad indeed. Men nowadays, they are not fighting what is right for their marriage. Through thick and thin, as what they said. Can you share an example
Hmm.
how influence can be just as powerful as financial wealth?
um i look at I look at where men get into powerful positions, and they're very influential in the community, or on social media, or uh, in their job. They move up the ladder, they move up the corporate ladder, and they get they forget where they started, and now people start looking up to them, which is good. And it's good to move up the ladder, whether it's in finances or whether in your job or whatever, and be influential. But then they forget that they they forget what's important. They forget what's important in life, and they think that more money, more sex, more power is going to make them more happy, bring them more happiness. And that's not true. It's absolutely not true. Of course, me included, I want those three things. Of course, every man wants those three things. But if we think that more power and more money allows them to have, how would you say, access to more women, more different women, somehow they're going to be happier. And I've seen where men will get so focused on themselves, and they turn into a major narcissist, where they get all about themselves, and they forget what's important in life. They might be bodybuilders or whatever, and that's good. I mean, bodybuilding is great. It's absolutely what warriors should do. They should be physically fit. But if they can't get their mental state of mind in order, how do they plan to, how do they, the thing is that I see men do is they get more focused on their physical appearance than they do their working on their mental state of mind.
Well, Mr. Glenn, as a coach, what are your short term and long term goals?
What are my what?
What are your short term and long term goals?
Short term and long term goals. I'm working right now. I'm working on getting my pilot's license to fly helicopters, something that I've been wanting to do for a lot of years. And that is somewhat of a long term goal because there's always room to grow in that area to move up and get more hours in flying. Because flying helicopter is one of the hardest things to keep in the air. And it has been several years now that I've been doing training. And it's something that I want to do is fly helicopters for recreation and also for a career. And it's it's one of the hardest things. It is super intense to fly helicopter. It's so much fun at the same time. It because you got to use your two hands and your 2 feet simultaneously to keep the thing in the air. So it's an extreme thing to do, and it takes a lot of mental focus. Like it takes a and I always say it's the most stressful, fun thing that I've ever done because you can land without and it's always been intriguing to me how you land them without an airstrip. If you have an area with not too many trees or something, in the way, you can land them in a pretty tight spaces. So my goal is by the end of this year to have my pilot's license to where I can fly uh, by myself.
Good luck.
And
Yes, go ahead. Sorry.
and another thing that I want to do is be able to travel wherever I want to travel with my own helicopter someday in the near future.
Good luck to your goals, Mr. Glenn. And can you please recommend a book or books that influence your journey?
Books, several other books that have majorly influenced me is one is Hung by the Tongue. It talks about the power of words, Hung by the Tongue. And another one is Chop Wood, Carry Water. Chop wood, carry water. It talks about the mundane things in life. If you do the mundane things in life consistently, long enough, that's sometimes where the most fulfillment comes from is being consistent at the mundane things in life. And that's what brings true success. That's what brings fulfillment and success. That book has helped me in a lot of ways.
Fulfillment and success for sure. And Mr. Glenn, what your piece of advice for those people out there want to be a coach like you?
Come again?
what will be your piece of advice for those people out there want to be a coach like you?
For people that want to be a coach or that want to be coached by me.
Well, either of the two.
Um, if if you want to be coached by me, um, I can I can be reached. I can be reached on social media on all of my social media platforms on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. Just search my name, Glenn Beechy, Glenn Beechy. That's what all my social media pages are under. And then I have another Facebook page that's Warriors Creed Men's Group. Warriors Creed, Creed, Warriors Creed Men's Group. And my focus is to help other men know that if they're struggling with addictions, uh, struggling with temptations and addictions in life, that they're not alone. And I want to help other men rise up and be their true selves, be who they were created to be, and not give up on their dreams. Never give up on their dreams, because big dreams, big goals don't happen overnight.
Definitely. Very well said, Mr. Glenn. Very well said. And before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season, abstract poetry in second season, and my book 101 review in fifth season too, comedy 101 in second season, and my food 101 in fifth season as well, geography 101 in fourth season, and my baby podcast Law 101 and Mental Health 101 Love Letters in fourth season, as well as my movie 101 review and music 101, Science 101 and Sex 101 in each first season. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcasts. And Mr. Glenn, what does a balanced, empowered life look like when these forces are in harmony?
When they're in harmony, um, what I've decided for myself is strong marriages. If your marriage is strong and you, when you have a great marriage and when you get your marriage in order, usually your finances will follow. And that, those two things, when you get your married life, your sex life in order, your finances will follow, and you will automatically be influential to society, because society will see that you have something that they want. I believe that we can, if we don't, I mean, not, of course, not everybody's married, and that's fine. That's totally okay. But if you want to be married, the thing that I've figured out is if I focus enough time with my wife and children, if I spend enough time with them, everything else will follow. Everything else will fall into order. Your finances will follow, and you will become an influential, powerful leader, powerful man, because you are putting in order the things in order that our creator created it to be.
Mr. Glenn Beechy, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. So, can you please invite our listeners to support your coaching itself?
Yes, absolutely. whoever is listening to this, I would be glorified to get to do coaching with whoever wants to do coaching with me. That is something that I am getting more and more into. I have done construction most of my life, but I have a passion for to make society a better place for men, especially to help men rise up. And I would love to connect with as many men as I possibly can.
Yes, people, let's support Mr. Glenn Beechy because if you support him, for sure, more and more and more empowering coaching to come. So, Mr. Glenn, thank you so much for your time. Modicon people, see you soon.